Hi, Ghosties. I'm Macy.
And I'm Nadoly.
We have a special treat for all of us.
Woo!
For the month of October, we will be doing 2 episodes a week. Our regular episode on Monday, and now every Thursday, we're going to have a little tea party episode. Sit down, drink some tea, tell some spooky stories.
I'm so excited because there's tons of stories, and some people have sent DMs. They're like, just sent you a story. Like, can't wait for you to hear it. I'm like,
Oh my gosh, I know. And I'm trying to go in order, but then every once in a while, one will catch my eye, like the scariest story that's ever happened in my life. And I'm like, I want to read it.
Yeah.
Like, read at your own risk. I'm like, yes, I want to click it now.
Oh, I'm so excited about those.
Thank you, everybody, for sending these over. So look forward to a new listener stories, a new tea party episode every Thursday for the month of October.
The celebration. I'm excited.
I've come prepared. I've got my little pumpkin sweater on.
Have not, but I have my ghost blanket, so
that'll work. Our tea today is Constant Comment from Bigelow.
Someone suggested this one.
We've had a few people suggest this one over like several months.
Yeah.
And I've been eyeing it in the grocery store aisle. I'm like, okay, it's time. It's time.
It smells really good, so let's go.
It kind of smells like crawfish boil.
No.
Yes, I think it's the orange rinds because sometimes people will put orange in the crawfish. You know what I'm talking about.
How dare you?
Sorry.
You ruined it.
I'm sorry. It tastes good though. I like it. That's just the first thing that came to my mind.
Oh yeah. I like that.
It's really good.
That just makes me feel like it's October.
Yeah.
It's here. It's time.
It's a cozy tea.
Oh yeah. I like it a lot. So 8 out of 10.
Ooh.
7 out of 10.
Okay.
7.
I was like, wow.
It's not that high. Not that high, but it's good. I like
it. It's a really good everyday scary story kind of tea.
Yeah, it's spicy. But, like it has spice.
Okay, so we're going to start with a special little treat. An extra special treat because this is already a special treat.
Okay.
I got an email back from Phoenix. Continued.
Oh, thank God.
More
stories.
Let's
More
go.
Stories.
So thank you, Phoenix. She starts with her master bedroom in the basement. So you remember last time she was having the lights would come on when she knew she turned them off. And she moved her bedroom down into the master?
Yes.
Or she moved her bedroom down into the basement?
Yes.
Starts there. We were down in the basement for several months before anything started happening. It was mostly me waking up in the middle of the night feeling like someone was there, but I never saw anyone or anything. There were so many nights I would wake and know there was someone in the dark, but no matter how hard I looked, I never saw anyone. I would even turn on the lamp on my side table, but still nothing. Just that feeling. It was so strong that she would turn her lamp on knowing that someone was there.
When I get that feeling, I close my eyes and pretend I don't.
I had that feeling last night. All the lights off in the house. So I was like, I felt like Luigi walking through the mansion, just like with my phone flashlight.
I haven't had that feeling since we started talking about what was it? I think it was the sleep paralysis one. And there were a couple other episodes that were real dark and spooky. And I started getting scared.
There was one night when I was laying on my side in bed trying to fall asleep. All of a sudden, I feel this evil presence come down over me. It stops to just a few inches above my left side and just stayed there. I was absolutely terrified. I didn't open my eyes because I was so scared of seeing what it was, and I didn't move at all. I started praying. It seemed like it went on forever. Then it lifted and a peacefulness came over me and I felt safe. I slept upstairs for about a week after that. Not too long before we moved out of that house, I had 2 times where something ran its hands from my ankle up to my knee. I was just barely asleep, and I feel this hand cup my ankle, then slowly run it up to my knee, and then lift away. Both times, it was my right leg closest to the edge of the bed, with me sleeping on my back. The first time was in the basement, and the second time was when we were moving to our current house. We had brought our mattress upstairs and put it in the girls' room. We moved them into the living room for the night, and it happened in that bedroom too. Both times, I jerked my leg back and practically crawled my way under my husband because it freaked me out. So not only in the basement, it followed her up to upstairs room.
I don't like the touching, but you're on your way out. It's okay. I feel better. I feel better that you're not just like, haha, I'm moving into the basement. Screw you. That freaked me out last time.
Yeah.
Even deciding, obviously it wasn't like that, but deciding to go in the basement, I didn't like it.
No,
so
I felt like a power move to me.
We're getting away.
This is my space.
I run.
Fast forward a few weeks, we are living in our new house. I'm in the kitchen standing at the sink washing dishes and I feel breath on the back of my neck. I smile, thinking it's my husband that has snuck up on me. But when I turn around, there's no one there. My smile dropped real quick and I just left the room and searched for my husband. I don't think I had anything else happen until I saw something crawling across my living room wall. My husband and I had fallen asleep on the couch watching TV. At some point, someone had turned it off because it was dark in the room when I woke. I'm half asleep and look over towards the TV and it's there, crawling over the TV. I scream and it wakes up my husband and it was gone. Shortly after the wall crawling thing, I woke to a golden woman standing beside my bed. She made me feel so much peace and safety. In my head, I'm thinking, how is she standing there? My bedside table is there. She can't be standing where she is. It's funny what your brain focuses on sometimes. Anyway, I looked at her for a short time and just went back to sleep. The best way I can describe her is that she looked like those statues of Mary, Mother of Jesus, but shimmering, glowing gold. I honestly thought it was an angel. Whatever it was, I felt like it was there to protect me.
That's like the visitation dream thing.
Or like we had a listener story like that where her cousin had a shining something.
Something, yes. But for her to make out a person,
Yeah.
that feels like visitation dreamy to me.
I like that it felt protecting.
Yes.
Especially after something so scary, seeing that crawling on her wall in her living room. And she just knows that like she has someone or something there to protect her.
I better not ever see something like that. Like, I'm not kidding. I don't know what I would do. I'd have to be
neither.
sent somewhere.
I know. It's been a while
I
since
mean,
you
I
said
say that. I say that all the time, but there's no way. Crawling,
At that point, I would have to convince myself that it was a dream.
it was a dream. Yes. 100%. And I
Deep
would,
down, I'd know it wasn't, but I'd tell myself over and over again until I believed it.
I can lie to myself enough to when it becomes truth. 100%.
It's a little scary.
Well, you gotta do what you gotta do. If I saw someone or something crawling on the wall, it's going into the, I was just dreaming, or I didn't really see that.
Understandable. We hear things often. Most of the time, I just think that it's our 100-plus-year-old house and there are kids and pets running around, so it's probably that. We all hear the footsteps walking down the hall at night. We have original hardwood floors in the house. You know when someone is up and walking around. I don't know how many times I've yelled for the kids to get back to bed, only to get up and find everyone asleep. One time, my husband was in the bathroom at the end of the hall and heard footsteps coming down the hall. He thought it was our son trying to hide outside the bathroom door to scare him, but when he pulled the door open real quick to catch him, there was no one there.
Hate that.
One night, I heard whispering. It was late. I was having a hard time falling asleep, maybe 2 a.m., so I got up and checked on the kids. Nothing. I thought maybe someone had left the TV on downstairs, so I went back to my room and got my German Shepherd, Hank. If I told him to search, he would go into the room before me and look around. I sent him down the stairs first, same with the whole downstairs, turning on the lights that I could before we went in. This is a very old house. In some rooms, you have to walk to the other side of the room to turn on a light. My worst nightmare. No TV was on. Nothing. Halfway through our search, I realized that the whispering had stopped. I only ever heard it that one time. I have heard noises and we have searched the house many times, never finding anything.
I don't know why I'm envisioning like the Conjuring house. I don't know. That's just the picture in my mind.
I think it was probably a year or so before my next thing that had happened. I had gotten a headache and went up to bed early. I had been laying there for a little bit on my right side, facing the middle of my bed, trying to fall asleep. Then I feel my pillow in front of my face compress, like someone has rested their hand on it, and they start to stroke my hair with the other hand. It was a very comforting thing after I got past the shock of it, and they did it until I finally drifted off to sleep. I asked my husband about it, and he said it wasn't him, which I knew it wasn't him. I didn't hear him walk down the hallway or open the door or walk across the room, and I didn't feel him climb on the bed. I just felt the hand compress the pillow and the stroking of my hair. I don't remember in what order things happened exactly after that. I think it was the blanket thing. Most of my stuff happens at night. I don't know why. Maybe because you're not so distracted.
Why does it happen at night? Why does it always have to be at night?
I don't know.
I would rather these things happen whenever I can open the window and there's like sun.
Yeah.
I don't know why the sun makes it feel less dangerous to me.
It's like like twitches.
Yes.
The sun's like
Yes. Yes. 100%.
gets away the darkness.
I just,
I
why
don't
do I
know.
feel better whenever I'm like, oh, it's daytime though?
For me, it's because there's more unknown in the darkness. And that is why I like still have a fear of the dark,
Yeah.
because it's so unknown, especially if I don't have my contacts in and I'm just like,
You're blind.
I'm like Velma. Like I can't see without my glasses. Like, it's bad.
You know those countries where the sun never goes down? Or they'll have like 6 months of just sun all the time?
Yeah, there's some like up in the North Pole and stuff, or
I would-
near the North Pole.
I would love it.
Well, but then they also have like long periods of darkness.
I would move during those periods.
Okay.
You know how people are like the snowbirds and they go to like Florida or whatever during the winter?
Yeah.
I would be that, but I would only be where there is constant sunlight. That's actually like my dream. I would love to live in a place where it never gets dark.
I kind of like the night. I do like the night. I just don't like what comes with the night.
I like the night, but I don't like the night by myself.
Agreed.
I have a mixed opinion.
Okay.
I'm probably just making that up. I do like the nighttime.
Who are
I'm
you?
also a liar. I don't know.
Okay.
Anything I've ever said has not been true, but also it has.
You're just an enigma. I tell you that You are.
Yes.
Anyway, I was asleep and I feel this tugging on the bottom corner of my blanket that's hanging off the edge of the bed. It tugs 3 times. Tug, tug, tug. Pauses and does it again. It woke me up and it tugged 2 or 3 more sets until I opened my eyes and looked down. And I see it. Tug 3 more times. Tug, tug, tug. I started screaming and woke my husband up, trying to climb under him again and as far away from the edge of the bed as I could get. There was no one doing it. We had no animals at the time in this house. It was doing it all on its own. I have had the tugging thing happen so many times over the years that I've gotten to the point where I just jerk my blanket back and say no or stop it firmly, roll over, and go back to sleep. I'm a little scared, but I'm also tired, so leave me the heck alone. I'm trying to sleep.
Okay, period. But that's when you get one of those onesies, like the adult onesies or the comfy. You know the comfy I
Oh,
have?
yeah, we're just like this big thing.
It's a big thing, and
So
you
you
can
don't need a
wrap up in
blanket?
it. Don't need a blanket.
I was going to say you get a spray bottle of like holy water. And you're just like, stop tugging my blanket.
I mean, hey.
Not too long after that, I started waking up feeling like someone was in the room with me, just like in the other house. But I started seeing a shadow figure in the room sometimes, leaning over me or just standing somewhere in the room. I'm going to jump ahead to something that happened just a few weeks ago that involved me and my husband. I tend to startle awake and feel threatened, so I will jump up and try to find whatever it is. Well, I did that and it woke my husband up, like it usually does, and he calmed me down and I went back to sleep. The next morning, my husband asks me about last night and what did I think I saw, and I tell him that I thought someone was in there in the room with us. He proceeds to tell me that he saw something. Usually it's very dark in our room, but this night I had left the bedroom door open and there was light coming in through the doorway from the other room. When I had jumped up, it woke him and he said that just for a second, he saw a shadow figure standing at the foot of the bed on his side, outlined perfectly by the light coming through the open doorway. Well, that's just great. Now I can't be in denial and say it was just a dream or something because he saw it.
We've talked about shared dreams where people see the same thing. I'm reaching at every straw I
use
can.
that. I've had several times where I've seen an actual person and then they disappear. The most recent was a man leaning down over my side table looking at something. I actually tried to punch him. He disappeared, so I didn't get a hit. I actually almost fell out of bed. I put so much power behind it. The next morning, I looked at my side table and other than a bunch of junk, my table was a mess. I had a book up there too. My brain decided that that was what he was looking at, so I moved it out of my room. He's like,
Smart.
What are you reading? The feeling of someone being in the room happens a lot, and seeing a shadow person is also something that happens often. I don't really know why it happens when it happens. I do say a prayer for protection over the house and each member of the family. It seems to help, but I do get lazy after a while of nothing happening and stop doing it. I think it does help, but not completely. We have lived in this house for over 10 years this October. Keep up the good work. I love everything you post. I'm interested in all of it, not just the ghost story ones. I hope you both have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So nice. But what?
Like, I was gonna say, when we were younger, me and you both used to have a cross over the top of our door.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you should look into that. Get something.
Yeah.
The salt, the sea bear circle, whatever people are doing lately.
Sprinkle some salt around your house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I like that she gets aggressive with it. She's like,
Me
get
too.
out. She jumps up and tries to punch
Punch
it.
it.
I love
Love.
that so much.
Me too, because I will just cower.
But thank you so much, Phoenix, for sending the rest of your stories in because we were really like, we need
You
more.
left us, yeah.
Our next one comes from Emily. Hi, ladies. My name is Emily, and just wanted to say I'm a new listener and have been binging all of the episodes and wanted to say y'all are amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Not sure if y'all still do listener stories. Here we are. But wanted to share this one. It's a long one, so buckle up. I have many cousins, and when we were younger, we would all stay the night at our grandma's or their house. Well, this night, we were staying at their house. Some context, their house is 2 stories with 2 bedrooms on the first floor and 2 bedrooms and a loft on the upstairs. And they had a security system that chimes loud when anything opens like a window or a door, or if you drive down the long driveway past their house. Their grandparents' house was at the end. The layout of Grandma's house and alarm are important to this story. The important ones to this story are M, S, K, and T. That's who she named her cousins. The only ones home at this time were me, S, and T. I was on the top bunk, and S was on the bottom bunk in one bedroom, and in the loft was my cousin T. Again, the only ones home. Their house always had a weird vibe to it. They are the only ones to have built it and live in it, but the house has been struck by lightning 3 different times and just overall has a horrible, heavy, dark feeling to it.
That's
Crazy.
like a bad omen.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
In T's room, where his bed was, he could see the stairs from it. At some point in the night, I was finally starting to fall asleep. I could never fall asleep when I was over. I was scared if I closed my eyes, something would happen. When I looked behind me and saw that the door was cracked open, maybe not even an inch, I heard something or someone in Cousin M's voice saying Cousin K's name in a very quiet but drawn-on whisper. Again, Kay and M left the house to go to the grandparents together. I heard nothing chime or beep or speak like something was open, and they made sure it was set before they left. That freaked me out enough, and I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. It sounded like my cousin's voice, but something was off. Well, the next night, my cousin T and my aunt were sitting on the patio talking, and without any knowledge of what happened to me the night before, my cousin looks over and says to my aunt, "I saw a bloody woman on the stairs crying last night." Cousin M is a woman. Needless to say, that's the last night I stayed the night.
A bloody woman? I'm envisioning on Scream when her mom's like out the window and she's like, sit.
Oh, that just conjured up something within me.
Because Scream was never a scary movie to me, but
until that,
even to this day, I get scared.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's the feeling I just got.
She heard it saying her cousin's name in her other cousin's voice. So it's kind of like mimicking.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Why is it bloody?
Why?
There are many more stories in this house, but just another side note that I learned recently from my grandma is that cousin Kay, she sleepwalks and talks a lot, a few times has woken the house up howling, crying, and freaking out saying, "They're on the walls. Their blood and bodies are on the walls," or something to that effect. This was a long one, but if you stayed this long, thank you for reading.
Thank you. Question mark?
That's so scary. They're on the walls.
Blood and bodies? I need the history of the land immediately. Why?
Who?
What?
No,
where?
I just mean like who's there? Whose bodies are these?
The woman.
Or the woman's family?
My
Was it
gosh.
like maybe a piece of land where her family's house used to be?
And they were all
I'm like
taken
creating
out.
an entire story now.
I know.
Like this, like in my mind, she like
Amityville horrored it.
and like freaked out. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I got sick. I don't like that. My stomach hurts. Why does my stomach always hurt during
Really
this?
creepy. I got chills hearing her say that she heard her cousin's voice, knowing that her cousin wasn't there.
That was enough to scare me.
Yeah,
That
and
was
then
it.
The bloody woman, the bloody walls. That's just a little too much for me.
I hate it.
I
a
also
lot.
would never return to my cousin's house again.
No.
Not even in the day.
I wouldn't talk to my cousin again. Well, that's it.
Bye.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sending that in, Emily. We'd love to hear any more stories you have. I'm scared.
That grossed me out. I don't like that.
So our next one comes from the comments. It was, I believe, on our Night Marchers episode from Isabella. My whole mom's side of the family lives on the big island of Hawaii. Night Marchers always made me cautious because my cousins live on a lot of land. We would go four-wheeling on the property. Once we drove to the bottom of their mountain, and to our luck, our gas ran out. We called my sibling and cousin to drive down and get us some gas, which is like a good 5 minutes. Mind you, it was pitch black outside because there aren't any lights on the mountain. We then began to hear loud drums, and me and my cousin just look at each other with wide eyes. Thank goodness the gas was brought to us, and we were able to get away before the drums got louder. But yeah, anyway, I believe it was Night Marchers.
I'm scared. But I love hearing a personal account.
Me too. That's why I put it
my
in.
Gosh.
Like, that's the best.
I think I started to read that comment and I was like, no, I don't want to see.
Swipe away.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't get to her. They didn't get to witness that, and that's a good thing.
They didn't see them, but oh, that's dark.
Well, moving on, we have another one from the comments. Ace. It was on our video, Appalachia. We've had many people comment, either laughing at the way that we said it or thanking us for saying it correctly. So I think it just depends on where you live.
Because some people comment like, thank you for finally saying it right. Oh my gosh, nobody says it right. And then someone will go, ha, wrong.
Or like, it took me a while to understand what they were talking about. I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't know. Google said Appalachia. So that's what I said. Anyway, don't come for me. They said, I was staying at my grandparents' house in eastern Tennessee. One night, I was sitting on their back porch, which was held up off of the ground and had stairs leading to the ground. The screen door was closed and the hanging lights illuminated the space, while everything outside the screened-in porch was pitch black. I was enjoying my tea, but it was quiet. Almost too quiet. I started hearing weird screeching to the left of me outside of the porch, and it wasn't a bug. It sounded like it was coming from the wooded area next to their house. It was something I've never heard before. It sounded like it was getting closer, and I started hearing other weird sounds. I sensed a weird vibe, and then I got up out of the porch swing and went inside. I couldn't get the sound out of my head, even in the room I was staying in, watching TV.
Smart.
Just the feelers going up, like where you have this weird sense
and I'm gonna
around you.
Go.
Yeah.
Yep.
I feel like always listen. Always listen to your gut.
See, that's my problem though, is
Better
because
safe than sorry.
I'm always scared. 90% of the time I'm like,
well, then you don't always listen to your gut.
no, but I need to. I don't listen to my gut, and then I let that man help me carry my couch to the other apartment, and then he comes back and is like asking for rides and money.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot about
that happened. A guy helped me carry my couch to a different apartment because mine had flooded. I thought he was a maintenance guy, and even though I got a weird vibe, I was like, yeah, sure, thanks for your help. Weeks later, he kept coming back and then looking in my window and knocking on my door and harassing me.
Didn't you call the police?
I called the cops and they said, call your apartment. We can't do anything. Called the apartment. They said, call the cops. We're not doing anything. This man is standing because I had a sliding glass door leading out to just like a little porch balcony thing. He's standing there looking in, knocking because he can see me, and they're going, nothing we can do. Do I trust my gut? I should. But that's my problem. Is I'm always like, I'm thinking the worst of people when I should always just think the worst of people. That was off topic. That's not a ghost. That's a real person, but still.
Yeah. Still spooky.
Yes.
Possibly more spooky.
It was horrifying.
This next one comes from our email. Hi, I am Little Lemon Curd from YouTube. My name is Nim. I love that name. The username is so cute. Yesterday, I commented about the ghost in our house mimicking our voices, and you let me know I could email you if I want to tell you more about my haunted childhood home. So here I am. Let me first apologize for how long this email will be. I lived in the home between the ages of 5 and 27, so I was there for a long time, meaning many things happened to both me and anyone who stayed there. Note, I will leave out anything that could have just been in my head to cut it down a bit. Preface. I need to start with a sort of odd note, simply because it ties into some of the things that happened. I sometimes have dreams that come true within hours upon waking, or about things that happened while I was asleep and had no way of knowing about it.
Me too.
I also sometimes know things that I have no way of knowing. After leaving my childhood home, me and my friends have speculated that these abilities of mine, or my strange energy, might have the ability to amplify hauntings. Although the hauntings happened to anyone who stayed in the house while I lived there, they stopped happening to people once I moved out, yet also did not follow me to my new home.
Interesting.
So rather than thinking the presence is simply attached to me, we speculate that the home is haunted, but that the ghosts were only strong enough to manifest while I lived there. The dreams also come into play later in a couple of the memories I will tell you. Okay, firstly, let me tell you the little quick things that would often happen but not take much detail to get through. As I mentioned in my YouTube comment, whatever was in the house would mimic the voices of me, my sisters, and my mom, the only people who lived in that home. It would only ever call our names, never say anything else or full sentences. Basically, one of us would be in a different part of the house and would hear our family member or members calling our name, only for us to find out no one was calling us. I remember clearly one time my mom and I were watching a movie downstairs, not talking or anything. My sister had been upstairs where you can't normally hear anything coming from the first floor. She came stomping downstairs at one point and was like, "What do you want?" in an agitated way. My mom and I were confused and asked what she was talking about. She said, "You two have been calling me down for like 5 minutes and I keep asking what, and you just keep calling me." We both then informed her that no one was calling her, and the fact that we could not hear her responding from where we were in the house means even if we had been, she wouldn't have been able to hear us. This sort of thing happened often in the house. It was always one of our voices, and it was always just calling our name.
I hate that already. That's already enough.
I will tie in one other story of mimicry, which is the only instance in which the entity took on the appearance of one of us. And scarily, it was my appearance. I say story rather than memory because this happened to someone else in the house and they told me about it the next day. So there was a handyman working on our house at the time. He was sleeping in our living room so that he could wake up early and keep working. And my mom knew him, so it wasn't an issue. He was just sleeping on the floor because we had no spare bed and a tiny love seat. Anyway, one morning I came down and he was acting oddly and then finally said, "I have a weird question for you." I laughed and was like, "Okay, what?" And he asked, "Last night, did you come lie on the floor by me?" I was obviously like, "What? No, absolutely not." He said that in the middle of the night, he woke up to see me walk into the room and lie down beside him without saying a word. I just laid there and he awkwardly didn't know what to say and then fell back asleep. When he woke up, I was gone. I was thoroughly creeped out that I was mimicked, but was certain it was not me. I want to be very transparent with this situation though and say that when I was little, I did used to sleepwalk. However, not only had I grown out of it at this point, but when I did sleepwalk, I would 1, act totally different than this, which we will get into later, and 2, never make it back to my own bed on my own, and 3, always have at least a vague memory of my nighttime antics for slightly fading in and out of consciousness. I also had bad insomnia at this point in my life and had become a light sleeper, so was no longer capable of sleepwalking.
That is one of the most disturbing things I've ever heard.
That it just laid there silently beside him.
Oh my god.
He thought it was just this weird moment where he's
Like a kid's
okay,
like, okay, let me just scoot
away.
over.
Yeah.
Oh no. What if he would have talked to it? Would it
Oh!
would it have said something?
I'm glad he didn't.
Oh, I just freaked myself out.
Yeah.
Okay.
My palms immediately sweat.
Yeah.
Since that is the end of the mimicry we experienced, I want to end that section by saying when those things happened, it never felt evil. It seemed more like curiosity or something just wanting to be involved. Something calling us back to where the other family members were, or in the instance with the handyman, something wanting to come see who the stranger was that was suddenly sleeping in our home, but not actively trying to do anything to him. That being said, the rest of the occurrences in the home did feel sinister,
Oh, God.
which led to speculation that perhaps there were multiple entities we were dealing with. I don't know, anything mimicry is a little sinister to me,
It just freaks me out.
but I'm glad it didn't scare them, you know?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but sometimes when you read stories, I feel scared, and then sometimes when you read them, I'm like, oh, okay, like that's not
You
threatening.
just get this vibe off of the story.
And the mimic, it doesn't feel scary. The only one that does feel sinister is the laying down, because that is just next level. I hate
just
that.
calling the name, like I kind of agree, like, or
Just
like I
wants
could
to be
understand
involved.
it just wants to be involved. It just wants to be like, hey, you know, everyone's always calling, so let me call too.
Yeah.
Laying down
I
to
don't know how I
check
feel
him
about.
out.
Yep, no.
I feel
no.
more scared for the guy than I do for the family.
Yes, yes.
Since I've already mentioned sleep a lot in this email, I'll go into that more. Let me first go back to when I was very young. I would sleep in my mom's bed because I was terrified of the house, the dark, and just sleeping alone.
Me too.
For the years that I slept in my mom's bed, I would very often wake up in the middle of the night and just know in my bones that something was standing in the doorway and watching me sleep. I couldn't see it, but I knew it was there. This happened almost every night. Years later, my mom, sister, and I were in the kitchen, and my mom was laughing about how I used to burrow under her arm in the middle of the night. And I said it was because I always felt like something was standing in the door watching me. My sister immediately was like, stop. That used to happen to me too. My mom was silent at this point before admitting it used to happen to her as well.
Oh my God.
So they were all watched while they slept.
Oh my. Okay.
Kind of like the same as Phoenix.
Why is it always during sleep? I hate it so much.
I mean, kind of like what Phoenix said, maybe it's just we notice it when we're sleeping because there's nothing else going on around us. It's kind of like the stimulation of our day is gone.
I guess.
And we're just focused on laying down and relaxing. And you can kind of sense it since there's nothing else taking your attention away. Something watching us sleep was a big problem in that house. My friends would sleep over once and then never sleep over again due to this feeling. I did once have a girlfriend living with us for a few months. At this point, I had the upstairs bedroom where the stairs went straight up into my bedroom with no door at the top. It just looked up into my room. My bed was a few feet away from the stairs. Often, I would wake up with this terrifying feeling that something was standing on the stairs, watching us sleep. It felt sinister, and I would try to wake up my partner, but they would always be too heavily asleep to wake up. Sometimes it would feel like the being was right at the foot of the bed staring down at us. One day my partner brought up that this was happening to her as well, and that when it happened to her, I wouldn't wake up either. We both just kept having this terrifying experience until she moved out and I changed bedrooms to no longer be at the top of those stairs. I didn't like that it felt like the stairs were leading the ghost right to my sleeping body.
Oh my God. I was going to say, that's like, sounds terrifying having the doors lead. No door.
No door right there.
Woo!
Just right up to your bed.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Before I get to the last two memories I wish to share with you, I want to first explain the reoccurring nightmare I used to have in that house, which I feel has a connection to the last two memories. For years while I lived in that house, I would have the same reoccurring nightmare. It was always that I was inside the house and that I knew in my bones that something was outside trying to get in. It would feel like this terrifying, oppressive hatred that I knew wanted to kill me, and I would know it was circling the house, looking for a way inside. Note that when I used to sleepwalk, I would always try to leave the house. It was the only thing I ever tried to do. My mom had to put cowbells on all the doors and make sure they were all locked every night because for some reason, I would always be trying to get outside or to flee. Never anything else. I just would try to leave the house until my mom guided me back to bed. Part of me thinks it was one of two things. Either I was trying to leave because I knew something was in our house, or something truly was outside and it was trying to lure me out in my sleep. Note, the nightmare stopped when I moved out.
I was going to say the second one.
Luring them?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And it wants to kill you? Is that what they said?
Yes.
What do you mean? You just knew it? Like if you came in contact, you
It would try its hardest to end you.
Why?
That's evil.
Oh, that's a terrifying feeling.
I hate that. I'm so sorry. Okay, so one thing that only happened once, which ties into the idea of something outside that wanted in. At this point, I was in the downstairs bedroom and my mom, sister, and my sister's boyfriend had the upstairs bedrooms, leaving me the only one on the first floor. We had a chain link fence around our backyard, which was very loud when you opened the gates, and I could hear if anyone opened them from my bedroom. To get to the back door, you would have to open one of the gates to get into our backyard before you could get to our back door. And again, I would hear if anyone entered the fence. It was a tall fence, not one you could just hop over. So one night I was in my room and suddenly there was a loud pounding on our back door. I mean loud. Not knocking, straight up fist just pounding on our back door. I jumped out of bed and called my sister's boyfriend down, who had been able to hear it upstairs too. He sprinted to the back door and yanked it open, and no one was there. The gates were closed as well. It took about 20 seconds between the pounding and him opening the door. There was not enough time for someone to try and quietly ease the gate open and get away before the open door, let alone close it again while fleeing and without me hearing it. Also, who would bother closing the gate again while sprinting away after a prank? Anyway, I was fully freaked out.
Why would you open the door?
Right?
I feel like you're
Open
letting
the
it
door
in.
to let it in?
Oh.
So do you have to explicitly say you may come in?
I don't
Or
know.
is opening the door enough?
I don't know, because I feel like knocking is asking to come in. I don't know.
I'm
I don't
glad
even.
it stopped happening after they moved out though.
Me too. I don't even open the door whenever it's daytime and I'm expecting someone.
Oh, I know. Me neither. I think we've talked about this.
Yeah, probably.
Lastly is a memory that probably scared me the most. I had a dog named Piper.
Aw, me too.
She was a very well-trained, obedient, and predictable blue heeler. That is not Natalie's Piper.
No, Piper is a
Rambunctious.
well-trained but does not listen, high energy Yorkie.
Well-trained if you have a treat in your hand.
No, she knows what to do. She acts out of spite.
Okay.
If you upset her, she's going to do the wrong thing.
Well, Nim's Piper. She would sleep on my bed, but hated being touched when she slept, meaning she would never sleep against me in any way. And if I brushed up against her, she would get up and move. One night, I was having a vivid dream, which is normal for me. Suddenly, though, the dream changed where I was having trouble breathing and kept just saying that my back was killing me. Finally, I woke up and realized I was actually having trouble breathing and my back was in horrible pain. It took me a second of fumbling before I realized that my 55-pound dog, who hated to be against me in bed, had fit her entire body onto my back as if she were trying to hide me. She didn't want to get off me, and I had to really work to force her off of my back. I was gasping for breath and confused when she suddenly got off my bed and moved to stand in the center of the room with her head low and started to give a low warning growl into the darkness. I told her to come back and she just ignored me, which she would normally never do. She just stood there and refused to even look away from the spot she was growling at. I quickly threw on the light and nothing was there. I then turned on all the lights and TV, and after a minute, she came back to bed. I stayed awake all night with all the lights and TV on. I always had the feeling that whatever I would dream of circling the house, wanting to get inside, had finally gotten in that night, and she was clearly trying to shield me from it. We had her for 10 more years before she passed away, and she never once did anything similar ever again.
I love dogs so much.
I know. We
That's
don't
actually
deserve
gonna make me
dogs.
cry. No.
She was protecting you.
I'm actually gonna cry. Oh my gosh.
I want to end by saying I am a very logical person, and while still living in that house, I would often ask myself if maybe I had some sort of disorder that just made me freak out at night or even straight up imagine things. Maybe even my fear was rubbing off on the people around me, like a mass hysteria situation. I thought it must be nighttime that feels like this to me, not the house itself. However, as soon as I moved out of that house and went on to stay in multiple houses over the years, I realized immediately that no other house ever felt scary to me. I even no longer felt afraid of the dark or any of the things that I felt in that house. It was truly just that house.
That is terrifying. That's kind of how I feel going from mom's house, like our house, to where I'm living now. At mom's house, even now, if I go home for Christmas, I'm like turning on every light. I'm scared there.
Yeah.
Here at my house, I can walk to the kitchen and in the dark. Like, I'm not going to freak out.
Through the whole house, I don't feel scared like darkness. I feel scared like something's there.
Yes.
Something's there, but not a darkness is there. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
Does that make sense?
I guess.
It doesn't feel inherently evil. It just feels non-human.
Yeah,
You know?
I don't know. I just always felt scared. And that's crazy how a house can have that. And it's just in that one area. I'm
Yeah.
glad it didn't follow Nim.
No, me too.
That's horrifying.
At the end, there's a little note. I left out some memories to keep this from being a novel, but know that sometimes things would be knocked off shelves as well, And there was one instance of my sister feeling like someone ran their fingers up her back. These were not common to happen though, so I did not go into detail about them. So not only was there all of this chaos at night happening, but even still just
The normal
regular
small,
ghostly things like things being knocked off shelves.
That's
noises.
too much.
Nim sent another email saying that they had more stories. Please.
Please send them.
Please. Everything. I love these stories so much.
I do too. I'm scared though. I'm just imagining something circling
Circling
like
the house,
wanting to get in.
Trying to find a way.
And then the boyfriend opened the door.
I wonder how long between the boyfriend opening the door and the dog incident happened.
Mhm.
Because
'Cause-
if it was really close,
Then it got in.
yeah.
Oh, don't say that.
You
Don't
said
say
it.
that. Oh no. Oh no.
But
I
thank you so much for sending these stories. And I am really glad that nothing followed you away from this house. Our next one comes from Sarah. Hi, I'm Sarah. I found you a few days ago and I've been binging your content. I love it. When I subscribed, you had 2.7k followers and currently you have over 7k. Congratulations. Now we're at like 24.
Thank you.
I'm still flabbergasted.
It's not real.
I also feel like Patrick when he comes home and he was like, "Who are you people?"
Yes, that's
Yes.
exactly how I feel.
Where did you come from?
But in a good way.
oh, yes, definitely. I love your dynamic and I relate to Nadoly in so many ways, like bringing the blanket all the way up to her eyes when she's scared. I always say, it really scares Nadoly when she becomes just this ball of blanket by the end.
Have commented that, so I try to just, like, do. But
No,
these
dude,
stories
just-
actually really scare me, so I feel safer in my little ball.
Be your true self. Anyway, here's my experience. When I was growing up, my grandma used to work at an old Quaker college. I would visit her all the time there, and a bunch of creepy stuff would always happen. And I have so many stories of this college alone. When I was in high school, around 15, I decided to work on the paint crew over the summer to save money for a car. I ended up working there for 2 summers. We did normal things like painting the locker rooms, and we did all the student housing that was on campus and just off campus. Usually nothing too weird. You would sometimes get creepy feelings in the houses, but being that it's a really old campus, you brush it off. Or if you're me, ignore because you're terrified at the slightest thing. Anyway, there is a house on campus that used to be a funeral home before it was bought by the college for student housing.
Why? They're asking for something scary
I
because
mean, you can't just demolish it.
student housing is already terrifying.
That's true.
It could be a brand new building and it's really scary.
There's just a lot of weird energy.
Well, that's true.
In college.
That is very true.
The house is super creepy. It has a full working basement for a funeral home. Floor drains, large sinks, and a working body lift elevator. I have been in the house many times before, but never alone. Always with my grandma. Together, we heard water running through the drain pipes from upstairs while the house was empty. But other than that, I was mostly creeped out because all of the stories I was told as a kid to scare me. The first summer I worked there, me and 3 others were sent to the house to touch up a few rooms on the first floor. All of us carried in our supplies to start the project, then went to lunch. When we returned from lunch, we go back in the house and are talking and getting our stuff ready to paint when all of a sudden, all of the smoke alarms in the second floor started going off. None of us smelled smoke, but 2 of the guys I was with ran upstairs to make sure there wasn't a fire. There wasn't. The alarms went off for a few minutes, then stopped. We hadn't opened any paint cans yet, so it couldn't have been the fumes that caused it. Seeing how unsettled it made me, it became a regular joke. So much so that they set up a prank in the basement and lured me down there to scare the daylights out of me. Other than that, the rest of the summer went well and without incident. That is so mean.
That is mean. But for me, the smoke alarms, I'd be like, oh, it happens.
That happened to me. Sorry, tangent. I was dog sitting for my old boss. And he lived in this big house and I was all alone with just his little beagle. He was so cute. I miss him. Shout out Leo. I was sitting there and all of a sudden the smoke alarm went off in one of the upstairs bedrooms. And I was like, Leo, did you hear that? Is it just me? So I got up and I'm like, well, maybe it's a battery issue. So I go and I look. No, it's fine. I press the button. Everything's fine. Seems like the battery's fine. So I'm like, that was weird. Maybe a fluke thing. It kept happening the rest of the night in different spots of the house, but it was always upstairs. And I was like, so either this place is haunted or I'm about to get strangers
because
messing with me because I'm there.
Oh no.
I was so scared. I called Jake. And then the next morning I set the alarm wrong. So there's an alarm you can set for when you're leaving the house. So motion detectors, and there's an alarm you can set when you're in the house. And I set the leaving the house one and I went to bed and I woke up because the alarm started going off because the dog walked by and wanted outside.
Gosh.
And I was like, they're really here.
They're here. Oh, that's horrifying.
It was so scary. And then my boss, it was like 5 a.m. My boss is on vacation. He called. He's like, the alarms are going off. Are you okay? I was like, I don't know. I'm scared.
That's so sad. That is so sad.
It was really scary. It like scarred me.
See, but
It
I
formed me into a new human.
would have been embarrassed if the alarms went off.
I was a little embarrassed. When I
so
realized that I
sorry.
wasn't in danger, I was like, oh my God. I woke them up on vacation at like 5 a.m.
Oh, that's so funny, but not funny because I would have taken Leo and we would have been in the car immediately.
He was kept trying to go to the back door, and I'm like, I'm not opening that door, Leo. Get over here.
Oh.
Sorry, back to Sarah.
Oh, yeah.
The next summer, I was assigned to refinish a door in the house next door to the old funeral home house. I had never heard any scary stories about this house, so I wasn't too worried about doing it alone. The door I had to finish was the door to the basement, and I immediately got a sense of unease when I opened the door. Thinking I'm just being paranoid, I ignored it. It only took me about 30 minutes to finish the job, and as I'm about done, I hear movement from the pitch black basement. I look down the stairs toward the noise, and I can barely see to the bottom of the stairs, but I thought it could be my boss pranking me again. So, still uneasy, I grab all of my stuff and start carrying it outside. After I have everything out of the house, my boss pulls up to check on me. In my head, I'm freaking out because I just realized it couldn't have been him in the basement, but because he made fun of me the previous summer, I didn't say anything. I loaded up my equipment into the work van as he went inside. He came back out and asked why I closed the basement door because the door was wet. It has spots from the door frame, so it will need to be retouched. I immediately start freaking out because I know I left the door open. I tell him I'll finish it if he stays with me in there, and he agrees but starts making fun of me. It took 5 minutes and we were out of there. Of course, nothing happened while he was with me. We have a few other projects, but towards the end of the summer, me and the two guys my age got assigned to paint the entirety of the old funeral home house. It was a slow summer with not much work, so we were able to take our time and make it last a month. So, me and the two others did just that. We would take long breaks and sometimes take naps after lunch. Well, about 2 weeks in, I was working on the second floor in a bedroom that was in the back corner of the house. I believe it was previously a porch, but was enclosed into a sunroom because 2 of the walls had large windows lining the wall. The room wasn't large, but it had a twin-sized bed, a dresser, and a desk in it. The dresser was next to the bed against the wall, and the bed was pulled out about a foot from the wall, creating a small space at the head of the bed, only accessible if you move the dresser or climb over the bed. After lunch, we came back to the house and both the guys say they are going to take a nap. It was hot and I decided to go lay down in the room I had been working in. I had all the windows open, but there wasn't much of a breeze that day. So I lay down with my back to the door. I had closed the door, but left it cracked. As I'm laying there, I suddenly start feeling like 2 people came into the room. Thinking it was probably my coworkers, I turned over to the room being empty and the door wide open. A little creeped out, I brushed it off and laid back down. I knew they were trying to prank me again, but I didn't hear anyone walk into the room. And how did they get out that fast without me hearing or seeing them? And the door? Windows were open, maybe just the wind on this breezeless day. So I'm laying there for less than a minute when I feel like there is someone standing behind me and someone standing at the head of the bed, the space blocked off by the dresser. Right as I'm about to turn and yell at my coworkers, I hear, clear as day, in a low, quiet voice, "We'll get her from this side." And at the same time, someone taps me on the side. I completely lose it and jump up. No one in the room. Now the door was closed back to being cracked again. Extremely freaked out, I go find the 2 guys I was working with. One was a few rooms down in the second floor reading. I asked him if he had been in the room and he denied it, so I found the other guy. He was asleep on the couch in the living room. I completely freaked out and told them what happened. As I'm telling the story, a toilet in the bathroom adjacent to the bedroom I was in flushed while no one was upstairs. We all freaked out and sat outside until break time. We told our boss, who then, just like the previous summer, made fun of me. After that day, I didn't take any naps and finished as fast as I could. Maybe they don't like lazy workers. The rest of the summer went fine and I was so happy to be out of that house. Sorry it was so long. Please don't apologize. We love long stories. Again, I love your content. I hope to hear my story on here. Have a good day and keep up the creep. Sarah.
We'll get her. Thank you for sending the story.
Yes.
But what?
So if you're thinking like, oh, it's a prank. So she's like, it's my coworkers. No one's there. They thought she was asleep. They touched her.
Okay. It used to be a funeral home.
I just got chills all over
Did
my
they
body.
think that she was a dead body and they were like, just, maybe they worked at the funeral home. They're like, oh, we'll pick her up from this side. We'll do this. Maybe they weren't getting her.
Yeah.
Maybe they were like, oh, here's a person. We need to move them.
That is an interesting thought. I thought nefarious immediately.
Well, yes.
But I like your thought. They're just doing their job.
I have to tell that to myself because that scared me very bad.
Well, I saved the last one. It's kind of a little palate cleanser. Sort of. Maybe you won't think it was a palate cleanser. I didn't get bad vibes from it. So maybe not.
Okay.
I don't know. but it's not Brandy's shadow monster.
God.
So
That one ruined me.
this one is from Anna. Hi, Macy and Nadoly. First off, just want to say I love the pod. You are both so sweet and are great company on a slow day at work when I'm home alone. Saying that, I do freak myself out sometimes being home alone, especially in the winter when it gets dark at 3 p.m. Sorry.
Thank you, but sorry.
Thank you so much. So here's my story. Sorry if it's a bit long. Again, it's
fine.
never long enough. When I was little, I had an imaginary friend. Her name was Louise, Lulu for short. And I remember her so vividly. She was about 10 years old, wore a blue dress, had short brown hair, and no shoes. As an only child, she was the only person I had to play with when I was little. According to my mom, I would talk to her all the time when at home, but she never came out with us. My mom said, I told her it was because she was scared to go outside. Fast forward several years and my little brother Charlie was born when I was 15. By the time he is 6, I am already in my 20s and have gone off to university. That was the same for me.
Yeah.
I think I was 15 when our little brother was born.
I think so. Or 16.
15, about to turn 16.
Yes.
And in my final year, when I'm 21 and he is 6, I came home for the Christmas holidays. My parents asked me to watch Charlie whilst they went to my dad's work Christmas party. I was serving Charlie lunch that day and he asked me if I could put a plate down for his friend as well. Since I so vividly remembered my own imaginary friend at that age, I thought nothing of it and playing along put another plate down. That's when Charlie said, "She knew you'd be kind." Again, I played along, not thinking much of it. Throughout the day, I could hear Charlie playing with and talking to his imaginary friend. Later, I had to go to the supermarket. And with Charlie being only 6, I had to take him with me. Whilst at the supermarket, Charlie asked me to hurry up as his friend would be getting lonely at home. I asked him why she didn't come with us, and he said it was because she was scared to go outside.
No.
I didn't think much of it and told him I was nearly done. However, on the drive home, I started to recollect some memories. I remembered that my imaginary friend was also scared to go outside. I wanted to think it was just a weird coincidence, but I've always had a funny feeling in my parents' house. Like there was always someone there watching. I'm also one to lean towards spirits, ghosts, whatever being real. Same. So, with this in the back of my mind, I decided to ask Charlie some questions about his imaginary friend. How old is she? Bigger than me, smaller than you, Charlie said. That didn't give me much. We have a 15-year age gap. What does she look like? Her dress is blue and she never wears socks, Charlie said. Oh, that sounds familiar. What is her name? Lulu, Charlie said. Short for Louise.
I just got chills.
I had to pull into the nearest car park when he said that. I know we are siblings, but I don't think imaginary friends are hereditary. It's been several years since then. Charlie is now 15 and I'm 30. This last summer, my husband, daughter, and I were visiting my parents and brother. They still live in the same house. My daughter is 4. One night at dinner, my daughter suddenly perks up and says, Lulu also wants a plate. My mom, dad, and husband think nothing of it, but I look over to my brother, who has gone white as a ghost. Pun intended. I guess he remembers her also. I spoke to my brother after dinner and he said he always feels like there is someone else in the house as well. Same as I did as a teenager. I am sure some will think it's all a strange coincidence, but I think it's ridiculous. How can I, my brother, and daughter all have the same imaginary friend who is only there at my parents' house? Make of it what you will, but in my mind, Lulu is more than just an imaginary friend. Feel free to share this if you'd like. Love, Anna.
Lulu's real.
Lulu is real.
100% real.
I think it's kind of sweet.
I was
Like
gonna
she's
say,
just a little playmate
yes,
looking for a friend.
as long as nothing scary starts happening,
Yeah.
she can stay. That's fine.
Maybe she's actually a kid ghost.
Maybe, hopefully,
It's friends.
they're
With them.
they're it's friendly. They're
None
playing.
of the kids were ever scared,
Yes,
or seemingly so from this email. That story gave me chills. When I
that
read
seems way too real to me to just write off as, oh, look, a coincidence.
it.
Like,
Oh no! I'm with her. I'm with her on this.
That's
No.
real.
There's one. I don't really believe in coincidence very much, but
no.
2, all 3 of you having the same exact friend, same description, same name,
Mm-hmm.
Lulu, Louise for short. Like,
Yes.
no.
As long as she keeps it cool, we're cool with Louise.
Well, was that more of a palate cleanser, or was that just as creepy?
No, that one was better. That one was way better than Brandy's story.
Yeah,
I'm forever changed after Brandy's story.
I think about it often.
I'm horrified. Petey has his bed right to the side of mine, down below. I'm afraid to look. I am.
Yeah.
He starts out the night there and then ends up on the bed in the morning. But at night, whenever I'm like, okay, good night, and I turn off the light, I don't
Are you
look.
ever afraid? Okay, so Nadoly, sorry, we're gonna go off on a side tangent as we end here. Nadoly takes pictures in the middle of the night randomly. Like she'll wake up at like 3 a.m. and take pictures, a few pictures, and then go back to sleep and wake up and just have these random pictures of like her dog or Ryan or the wall.
No. It's only of the dogs. And the only time Ryan's in a picture is if he's holding
if he
one
has
of the dogs.
Okay.
Yes, I don't have a memory of taking these pictures. I sleep really well. I don't wake up feeling like, oh, I didn't get enough sleep.
Well, I'm about to scare you.
What?
Sorry. What if you woke up one morning and you thought you had taken a picture of your dog, but it's not your dog? What if there is something like a shadow or like you capture like ghostly evidence on your phone? Every time you show me a picture from 3 a.m., I'm thinking, oh, it's a ghost. What are you showing me?
No, I refuse.
Okay.
No. And the thing is I would never go looking for this photo. So if I found this photo, it would be days, weeks later, because
Yeah.
I don't know that I take these pictures. And then anytime I go back in my camera roll, I'm like, oh, what is that? And I click on it because it's a dark picture with the flash on of my
Yeah.
dog's just like,
That was just my first thought when you said you don't want to look over at the end of your bed. What if you wake up in the middle of the night and take a picture of the bed, but Petey's not there, but something else is?
well,
Take a
my
picture.
lease will be up that day.
Well, we appreciate you all taking the time to be with us today. Keep sending in your stories. We love them. We have so many. I'm so excited.
I'm very excited.
And I'm glad we decided to do this for October. So come back Monday and Thursday because we're going to have another listener stories again on Thursday. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, turn notifications on so you get notified when we're posting. Like this video, share it with your friends if you would like to, and follow us on Instagram at Ghosteas Pod.
We're going to still working on merch.
Yes.
We're trying.
I didn't know there was this much that went into it. So it's taking me some time. I've got like a whole life and a whole family. So this is like a side hustle.
Yes, I don't have children, but I do have a full-time job and dogs to put food on the table for.
So it's just taking us a little bit. But we will post it on Instagram as soon as it's live.
So
Be
follow
on
us
the
there.
lookout.
We don't really have an outro. You know how most podcasts have like, stay spooky. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to say something stupid. So what would y'all say to close out the pod?
Yes, I'm interested.
All right. Goodbye.
See ya.